Live. Okay, cool. Welcome back to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid. Again, live from the Keeper Institute where signs are falling because it's raining in San Diego, California. That is right. It is raining in San Diego, California, but that doesn't stop the Keeper Institute from having a live pro clinic. Maria Doris-Loyden is joining us right now. Maria, honestly, this is amazing. You guys have put this all together. And obviously the whole situation with having to switch to a different field while it's raining, while my equipment's probably going to break right now, is absolutely amazing. Can you talk a little bit about like how you put together something like this from all the way over on the East Coast?
Yeah, first, thanks for having me. We're super excited to be here and to have you guys here with us. Obviously, we've had a really awesome turnout here to the event, despite the weather. And we're just super thankful to have worked alongside with Kaylin, who really helped us with the camp, and also our sponsor, West Coast Goalkeeping. We would not be here without them.
And I think, one of the great things about this whole experience is everything is like, I've seen you all have to work behind the scenes to like kind of make something like this happen. So like, can you kind of talk a little bit of how, because there's a lot of people out there who are probably going like, I want to put something like this together. So how do I connect with the Keeper Institute to put something like this together? And what would be kind of the steps?
Yeah, so if you are interested in having us come to run something in your market, reach out directly to us via email, our website, social media. And really the first step would be solidifying an area that we know there's a need for goalkeeper training, which probably is everywhere. And then solidifying a location, a field, and making sure that we can make it happen.
Yeah. And I think obviously one of the things about this, like when you're talking to people out there who like want to put something together, like the number one thing is finding a field location, right? Like yes. Finding a field space before you reach out to somebody. Like how important is it for you to go to a market that has multiple locations? I can't tell you how many times I've tried to put something together. I show up and they're like, yeah, we only have this one field and it looks like lacrosse is going to be there and baseball is going to be there. But yeah, we can figure it out.
Yeah, no, we are super aware of the needs that we have in terms of space, and without the appropriate space, the appropriate goals, the appropriate equipment, we aren't able to do what we do best and provide training for kids in a realistic representative design with field space and goals and balls that they are used to playing with in games.
And I think that's another thing too in regards to that, like realism. I'm seeing all these sessions right out here, and you've got so many young players out there, and it's not like you change things up because you've got a big clinic going on. It's basically the same way you kind of run things at TKI, right?
Yeah, the curriculum is the same that we would run in our facility at our camps at home, which is a very representative design to provide kids opportunities to work on skills and situations that they will see in games, which is the ultimate goal, is to help these goalkeepers perform here so that they can bring that back to their teams and perform in games.
Speaking of that, the elements is something they're going to have to deal with in games. So it's not like we're going to cancel just because it's raining out there, because they're going to have to deal with those situations.
Yeah, all these emails have been coming in all week about, are we going to go rain or shine, from these San Diego people that don't deal with many elements, but those of us that live in other areas of the country, we are dealing with elements all the time. So rain or shine, we were going to be here today.
Now, speaking of that, like let's say you're a club or an organization out there that wants the Keeper Institute to come out right there, and they go, oh, but I only have a limited number of goalkeepers in our area. Like, would you put something together differently if you were going to work with a smaller group than you did here, or would it be about the same?
In terms of curriculum, no. In terms of like the setup of the event, maybe. But obviously we have to have 3 fields here for 85 goalkeepers today. Whereas if it was a smaller group, we wouldn't need that much. So, but we can definitely alter and amend to whatever teams are needing.
Now, have you guys all thought about, and I know that the whole Keeper Institute methodology, it's not about us, it's about you. But have you thought about, outsourcing the Keeper Institute's, curriculum or methodology to other people to be able to put into practice, within their programs?
That is not in the foreseeable future.
Okay. I'm just curious, right? I'm just curious right there. It's just coming up to my head right there. I just did that live. Okay. I shouldn't have done that anyway. But I think the thing is though, is that a lot of people do come to something like this. I just talking to a young goalkeeper coach over here, and they were like, I'm seeing a lot of the things here and I want to bring this back to my club. I think the number one issue when I see people watching a clinic or anything like that is they need to talk to you and find out the why of why you're running something, just instead of going like, I just took some pictures over here, I took some video, I'm going to go back to my club and I'm going to do it.
It's funny because we post a lot of things on our social media, and sessions, right? Videos of sessions, and we've gotten the feedback of like, well, this doesn't work in my environment. This doesn't work. We've tried these exercises, it doesn't work. Well, this didn't just work because we drew up a session and we ran the session. Anybody can set up the exercises that we're doing out here. The only equipment that any coach is using here is 2 to 3 dummies and balls. That's it. And every session is designed to replicate some scenario that is happening in a game. And so first there's intent behind the session and intended outcomes that we're looking for in each of these exercises. And also we are huge on the culture of the session and making sure that we are giving kids ample opportunities to explore techniques and to explore different things, and that it's messy. And that's when people say it doesn't work, because it doesn't always look pretty, but the intention is the most important thing to us. The intention of making sure that we are giving kids opportunities to explore 1v1 shapes and creating curriculum that provides opportunities for that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, speaking of that, about the messiness type of a thing, I think that a lot of the times is when coaches say, "Oh, it's not working. It's because people are getting scored on left and right," that type of a thing, as opposed to thinking it's like, okay, what is it about these goalkeepers that's challenging them right here, and therefore they're not being able to be successful. So like maybe the session works, but the way that we execute it.
And the way that we are defining what is successful and working, right? Is it not successful because your kids are getting scored on, or is it not successful? In my opinion, it would not be successful if we weren't providing a realistic environment for game-like situations, or if kids were not being exposed to trying new things, exploring new techniques. And lastly, as it's successful for us if kids are enjoying themselves. Yeah. And everyone out here today is enjoying themselves, even despite the weather.
You literally hear it in the voices of all the young players out there, and I think the number one thing too is that like a lot of people, and I've made this mistake in my past as well too, in regards to like you were talking about success and like people getting scored on type of a thing. Goals are going to be scored in games. Like it's going to happen. Are players learning from these actions? Or are you just giving up because the goals are getting scored on? And so now, because the kids recognize the body language in a coach and their behaviors when they give up on a session.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the uniqueness of the Keeper Institute and our staff is that we are first and foremost here to make sure the kids are having a good experience, and whatever that looks like for them, we're encouraging and making sure that the culture of the session is at the highest level that it can be, so that kids feel like they're safe and supported to try new things. And really that's when we see the most development, is when kids are feeling like it is a safe environment so that they can explore new techniques that maybe they're not comfortable with.
And I think, one of the great things about this too, and, obviously not just trying to make this an infomercial for the Keeper Institute, despite the fact that you guys did invite us out here to come and do this, is that like you have different voices out there, like with different experiences. Like, some of these players are aspiring professionals, who are just coming into training camps for the first time or just finishing up college. And others are, 20-year almost veterans, in the game. How important is it for you to bring different voices every time you run an activity like this?
Yeah, I mean, even with our mainstay staff at the Keeper Institute, everybody is different. Everybody has their own personalities, their own take on things, and we want that. We really encourage people to challenge each other, collaborate with each other, bring new ideas, bring different styles into the game. And just being on the staff that we have here, some of which this is their first event that they're working with us, but we got to work with them all week in our pro training camp and kind of got to instill what is our training methodologies, and also what kind of culture are we hoping to bring in a professional session or a session with 8-year-olds, because it is the same. It is the same culture of encouragement and making sure that everybody is having fun and collaborating.
And I think, and then this is something I brought up to Kaylin, obviously, earlier in regards to the whole experience here, is that there is no group 1, group 2, group 3 type of a thing. Like it's all about everyone learning from each other. And like, hey, if that player maybe is not as proficient in a certain area of the game than you are, then that player helps that player in this environment, as opposed to being like, I need to move up type of a thing.
Yeah. No, we really do our best to make sure that kids are in not only just age appropriate groups, but skill appropriate groups. And so that everybody's being challenged and everybody can kind of collaborate with each other. And it's not a competitive, it's it is competitive because we are all inherently competitors, right? But we also want it to be more about development and enjoyment than it is about, well, I'm better than this person and I should move up a group, and really just maximizing the time that we have with each other in the groups that we're in.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say, because I know you got to get back, you've got all this stuff that you got running, and I really appreciate you taking the time in the middle of literally a rainstorm that was taking place. Like, I hope this camera doesn't die. I was just very happy that it continued the entire time. There is, like, how long does it take to put something like this together? Because I think a lot of young coaches out there really would love to put something like this together. A lot of times they rush it, and then they're frustrated when the results aren't something like this.
I think we started planning in May.
Okay.
So in May of last year, and then we opened registration in October. So it's almost 9 months from start to finish.
That's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible. And while you're getting ready for the winter events out there, while you had your Thanksgiving thing going on, while you have your regular sessions going on, oh my gosh, that's like a full-time. That is a full-time.
That is, in fact, my full-time job.
All right. Well, awesome. If people want to reach out to you directly and find out more about like what you do with the Keeper Institute or how they can bring the Keeper Institute, what is the best?
hello@thekeeperinstitute.com via email, or at the Keeper Institute on Instagram.
Wait, is it hello
at thekeeperinstitute.com?
Oh my gosh. If you can't remember that, I don't know what to tell you guys. All right, guys, that's all the time on Inside the 18, and we will be back in a little bit. We're out later.
All right, thank you.
All right.